On episode 266 of the Tennis Files podcast, you'll learn about tennis shoes, overgrips, and training tools with Harry Tong. Hey there, welcome to another episode of the podcast. It's always a pleasure to have you listening. And today I have part 2 of my interview for you with Harry Tong. If you haven't listened to last week's episode yet, or the previous episode, depending on when you're listening, then definitely check that out. We talk about racket technologies and comparing different rackets that I've played with and that Harry has played with, as well as the world of strings and stringing mistakes and so forth. So definitely a fun episode and very informative one to check out, especially if you're a gearhead like myself and Harry. And also, just to give you a bit of background about Harry, I did mention this last week, but he is the creator of Tennis Spin's YouTube channel. He's the shop manager of Brad Gilbert's Tennis Nation in California. He's also a racket technician, and he developed an affinity for tennis equipment and gear back in his college days, I think even earlier actually. And yeah, he's just a big fan of what he does, which is the key to really having successful careers, enjoying what you do. So really happy for Harry and really glad that he came on the podcast. And so on this part 2 of the interview with Harry, we're going to talk about the best tennis shoes on the market for comfort, durability, and performance, why you should not skimp out on high-quality tennis shoes, the best max cushioning shoe and a great alternative, the top pieces of equipment to improve your tennis game, different types of overgrips and how to choose the right one, what we think about pickleball. That's a fun conversation as well. The best new rackets coming out this year and beyond, changes to the new 2022 Babolat Pure Aero, and much more. So really do hope you enjoy this conversation with Harry. And without further ado, here it is. I guess I forgot to ask you this question about rackets. We're always excited to see like the new ones coming out. So I guess, are there any that have either come out like very recently, or any new releases to look forward to in 2022 or even early 2023 that you want to note for us?
Oh yeah, so we're really close to US Open time, as I see on your cap there.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Oh, you're good.
We'll probably have to edit that one. And
yeah, we got it.
And then so there's a lot of new releases during US Open time. We got our Tango with the Gael Monfils racket coming out. Everybody's super excited for that. We just tried the Head Extreme line, which is a super great update to their current line of extremes. That Tour is awesome. That MP is awesome. Even the Team and the Team Light is awesome. Those 4 rackets have amazed me. And we make fun of that color, that it's avocado color. And and I don't know if everybody's going to roll with that, but definitely guacamole going on there. But great rackets.
Love guacamole.
And then I'm waiting on the Nadal. The most anticipated racket of the year is the Arrow. We've tested it out already, but they're not ready for sale. They're not, in our store for sale yet. But literally, I have a list of people who literally want it without playing with it, without testing it. So, but I get it. You like Nadal, you're probably gonna like the racket. That update's a little interesting in that they brought the strings in a little tighter, because the main complaint of the banana Arrow is that it was too far apart. So people were breaking strings left and right on it. So hopefully people won't break strings as fast. But I know the complaint will be, oh, I don't get so much spin on it now. Really? So you can't satisfy everybody all the time. I tell everybody it's always 80-20. You're going to always please 80% of people. 20% of people are always going to be mad or complain about what's going on. Wilson Ultra is going to get a facelift. There are rumors that Yonex is going to change that V-Core, but I think that got pushed back to January now. Everybody's been asking me about Pro Staff, and I feel like Pro Staff will have a facelift next year. Hopefully Roger comes back to Australia and and play out the next year and maybe a little longer, but he's going to bow out with version 14 of a pro staff. But I feel like that's going to be next year. Anybody else has something new? Nope, that's about it. Those were the rackets that are anticipated.
Gotcha. Nothing from, I guess I'm randomly thinking like Technofiber or anything.
Technofiber just came out. Sorry. Good catch there. They just came out with the Medvedev 305. Yeah, sorry, Technofiber. Missed you there. A great update.
He got you. Excellent. Cool. Actually, I know when you were trying to recommend me rackets, you initially mentioned 305, but then you said, nah, maybe the T40. What's the difference between those two lines?
So the TF 40 is more of a box beam, more of like a pro staff. So it's a square on the beam, which actually causes a little more flex, so more feel. So if you think of a pro staff, it's squared off versus like a blade, which is rounded off. So it's kind of the TF40 is their pro staff line, and the T Fight line is more of like a blade line, let's say.
Gotcha. Perfect. Thanks for that. And then, and then I guess a follow up for the Pure Arrow, or is that the right? Is it the Pure Arrow that's coming out? Okay, yeah. Mix it up. Usually, sometimes I say Arrow Pro, which maybe was the previous name. I got it. But like with them tightening the string bed, or I guess reducing the
the space in between.
Square. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So I guess then that'll be a bit of a more controlled racket. Is that right?
That's correct. When you bring the strings in a bit, it's going to be harder to get that extra power, that extra spin. But since people were complaining about their strings breaking too much, they remedy that for those people.
There you go.
Let's see if they like it, though.
Yeah.
See, I tell people, be careful what you ask for, because you might get it.
Yeah. It's very true. You got it's a classic line there. But I'm really curious about that now, because when I used the Pure Arrow or whatever it was before, I felt like there was a bit too much power in there. So that could be an interesting demo, I think.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely felt that there was less sling off of that racket. I brought it to people who actually use the current one, and they're like, yeah, it's deader. So I'm like, okay. So obviously you like the old one more.
Yeah. Very cool. Let's see, what other things do we have? So I'm curious also about any guidance on like overgrips for people. I mean, every little thing counts, like I remember when I just used to use overgrips till they were totally complete trash, and then I'd switch to a new one and I'd be like, wow, this feels so much better. So like any advice on overgrips, like different types, you should use what and all that.
So interesting you mentioned that. This is that time of the year when people bring their old rackets in, or their very used up rackets in, and those are gross overgrips that people bring me.
Have more respect.
It's been in there for freaking 10 years. It's like a dirty diaper that your baby's been sitting on for like a year. Come on, people. We got to change our overgrip a little bit more. I mean, obviously the number one overgrip is the Wilson Pro overgrip that's been around forever. Yonex Super Grap it feels like the same thing. Dunlop makes that great Super Tack that I like so much. I personally don't use an overgrip, so I feel like an overgrip for me, like when I change to forehand backhand, that it kind of hits the brake on me, especially when it's new. So I prefer to change the replacement grip that's a little more neutral versus overly tacky. But I feel like everybody should change their overgrip if they play like a fair amount, maybe 2 times a week or 3 times a week, maybe once a month. Would probably be not too much to ask for. You'll feel like a brand new diaper. Let's put it that way. That fresh feel.
So good. Sorry, that's a weird cut that out. So and in terms of like going more into the replacement grip versus overgrip, like I you just mentioned like frequencies for replacing the overgrip. How about like the replacement grip? I assume that like that's a lot longer, that it lasts a lot longer.
Well, it depends. If you use an overgrip constantly over your replacement grip, then your replacement grip really doesn't have to be changed as often. I mean, you can probably change that every 6 months or a year. I've seen people that kind of sweat so much that they go through that overgrip into the replacement grip, and then that thing starts to kind of separate because when you sweat into that grip, the base grip so much, that adhesive starts to kind of release because it's gotten so wet.
Yeah.
That would definitely be a time to get it all redone. If you're one of those people.
Got it. And then in terms of like Torna, I guess Torna grip is kind of known as like the one that's like best for, when there's
Sweaty
a lot
hands.
of sweaty hands. Yeah. So, do you ever use that like when you get sweaty? Oh no, you're totally replacement grip. But what's the popularity with Torna grip versus the others? I'm just curious, like from people in your shop.
So people who sweat profusely, and I know a lot of people who just kind of naturally has sweaty hands, and they have problems with tacky because they sweat through the tack and wear it out so quickly that they need for the grip to actually absorb everything. And that's what Turner grip does. It's kind of like a rag that will absorb all your sweat and give you a nice grip on your racket. For people who have dry hands like me, who doesn't sweat in the hands, that probably wouldn't work because it'll give me a blister. But for people who sweat, that's ideal because it's like a wristband for your hand. So those are the people who use it.
Nice. Any other advice, or I guess equipment or anything like for people who sweat profusely, like have grip sweaty grip issues?
Oh, there's been like a lot of lotions that have been introduced to the market. The latest one I got was by Friction Labs. They're actually a rock climbing company that it's kind of like liquid chalk. So you put it on your hand, and it acts like I call it an antiperspirant for your hand, where you won't feel your sweat seep through your hand, and to give you a nice grip on the racket. But there's a lot of lotions on the market now that actually do the same thing.
Nice. Very good to know that. Going back to rackets again, one question I meant to ask you earlier is how long, and I know you're a shop, so don't say every 5 months, but like how frequent, and I know also that people, like, it depends, I guess, some people play a lot, some people don't play as much, but what are some general guidelines on like when you should actually replace the racket, like where the racket is no longer has its properties that it had before?
Every week.
Every week. Okay. Head to Brad Gilbert's Tennis Nation and replace your racket every week.
Yeah, just buy a new racket. Forget stringing, forget the grip. Just change the whole thing.
Yeah, why not? We're all rich here.
So here, this is what I tell people who ask me this question. I literally have people who are good players change out 3 rackets every year. And it's like clockwork. Wow. They'll come to me in January and say, here's my 3. I want 3 just like this. If not in the newer version. And they, in their head, and it is actually true, it loses its stiffness. It loses over a year. You can definitely tell. If you took a 1-year-old racket, took the same racket, brand new, strung it the same way, the new racket will feel more powerful, more stiffer, react differently. The old one will definitely flex a little bit more. So, but here's the caveat though. Brad Gilbert himself is using an old pro staff that's literally 12 years old, and like, I know the guy who hooks him up with the rackets, and we had a conversation at a convention, and he's like, Brad refuses to change. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing to him? He's like, he can't change. And I'm like, and so I talked to Brad. I was like, Brad, what's going on, dude? He's like, the new racket is too stiff. It's hurting my elbow. So
Oh.
he says because he's worn out that racket so much, it's got a
Mm,
different flex. It's
wow.
softer. He likes the softer feel.
Mm,
So you got your, person who, 3 years wants your racket. You got Brad, who's not going to change because he likes that comfort in the soft racket now. And then you got your extreme, which people who don't change rackets for 20 or 30 years, and they're
yeah.
totally fine with it. And, because unless you try a new one and like the new one that's stiffer, you actually don't know because as it's getting softer, you're kind of getting used to it and your body's adjusting to it. So you got the two ends there.
Yeah, yeah, that's very interesting. So I mean, how do you balance this then? Like, you have a racket, like you like it, you play well with it, but then you're like, I think I could improve my game potentially or enhance it. Like if I switch to a different racket and strings, like, I mean, would you rather take that leap
uh,
or save the
so,
cash?
so
I don't
here's
know.
the thing. Everybody thinks that the racket's going to make the player. And I get
Right,
that.
right.
I'm guilty of it myself. Like if I get this racket strung with this string, I'm gonna be so much better.
Hmm.
You're probably great for a day and then you get used to it and then you kind of have to move on to the next thing. So but remember, you're the one toting the racket around. The racket, is kind of an extension of you. Um, I mean, if you feel like the racket can help you and you're confident that it can do that, then by all means, get a new racket. But if you're a racket junkie, like a lot of the racket junkies I know, they're literally 2 weeks to a month and moving on to the next thing.
Hmm.
That's going to be a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, yeah, I know a lot of people like that actually. Trying rackets every week, eBay all the time, reselling. I'm actually horrible at reselling rackets. Do you ever do that yourself? I mean, like, do you put your rackets on like eBay? Like, what's the best site for that stuff if you have a ton of rackets and you're not using them?
I don't. I'm
Okay, you just
I'm
collect
a
them.
keeper, and I mean
Yeah.
I'll the only way I'll sell a used racket is if somebody just happens to ask me. It's like, hey, do you have this from this year and this grip size? And if I happen to have one and I want to get rid of it, then I'll get rid of it. But other than that, I just collect.
Okay. Hey Harry, do you have a Pure Era VS 2017?
What size grip are you? No.
3/8 now. It's okay. Don't worry.
Oh.
Out of luck. No, it's cool.
That
Let's
that
see.
racket's actually sought after. Your racket is sought after. So many
Yeah,
people
it's
want that.
it's definitely unique, and I was again surprised how different it felt for me than the new one. But yeah, that's how it goes, like you said.
Yeah.
And I guess on to shoes, which is super important too. I feel like people cheap out and stuff, but I mean, like you're wearing your shoes. Yeah, you don't want to do that. So it's a creepy whisper there, Gary.
Exactly.
But it's important. So what's your top one or two pieces of advice for people for like how to select the correct shoes for them?
So here's the thing. I'm a shoe connoisseur, and I'd like to advise people that you definitely get what you pay for. If
Okay.
you spend under $100 on a pair of shoes, don't expect the cushioning to remain after a week or a month. You will definitely notice a difference very, very quickly because those shoes are built on the cheaper end. That
Mm,
sole, like some of the higher end soles are literally 7 to 9 layers underneath your foot. So
dang.
that's providing you with cushion support. When you go under that $100 range, that thing thins out. You're going to like 5 layers now,
Mm,
and you definitely feel the, I don't want to say the cheapness, but the lower quality of the shoe. But I tell people, a lot of people walk in with like Birkenstocks and flip flops and things that are like allowing their feet to flare out, and they walk in and say, "Oh, everything's tight." Well, of course everything's tight because now your foot's constricted. So don't let that. I mean, tennis shoes, you got to be in there. It's not a running shoe. It's not going to let let your feet just kind of flare out and do its thing. It's going to be more held together. There's a reason why it's got to be held together because you're moving side to side, you're stopping and going, right? You don't want your foot to be bouncing around in the shoe. That'll give you a blister. You could twist an ankle. You could, pop a knee, right? That's the last thing you want to do. So trying shoes on in the store, comfort is important, but it's not going to feel like a flip-flop, right? It's not going to feel like an UGG, right? So just don't expect that. But ASICS seems to be doing very well. Nike's got a great line of tennis shoes out. Just spend as much as you can on a shoe, and you'll definitely be rewarded with comfort and performance on the court.
Yeah, great advice again. Yeah, I got the GP Turbos and Nike ones.
My shoes, great.
Oh, yours, yeah.
Great. They discontinued that damn shoe.
I know, it's so, I don't know why they do this. Why? Actually, that's a question for you. Why are companies making great shoes and then discontinuing them? What's going on, Harry?
Your word of why. I do that a lot. You can probably edit this out, but do you remember Nancy Kerrigan when she got hit in the knee and she was laying on the ground?
Yeah.
Why? I did it in the store. Why you do this? Why you discontinue something that we sell? And it's everybody has forward thinking only. Like Nike, forward thinking. They never look back. Even though they screwed up, like we screwed up that freaking cap that everybody loved and made it thinner without like any kind of structure. Like, why you do that? Right? They try to lighten it up, right? More like a runner's hat so it breathes better, but it's got no structure. It's floppy now. So, I mean, literally people were trying to sell it online for like $400 and they were getting it because, Nike decided, move forward, don't look back. So I feel like everybody does that. They feel like they got the next best thing and we're not going to turn back. So, and that's a problem sometimes.
Yeah. And I got temporarily excited, but it doesn't sound like, my excitement's going to last because I saw Francis Tiafoe, who's a local in our areas from Maryland, but he was rocking the GP Turbos in like some cool colorway in like last week or the week before or something like that. And I thought, oh, maybe they're going to somehow, make some new ones, but they're definitely done, right? Is that?
As far as I know.
As far as know, yeah.
Because they even eliminated that name. So they've moved on to like the NXT and and the other ones.
Yeah, so I was really curious about that NXT. I guess it's the one where there's like a gap or whatever, a hole, in the middle, the shank. I don't know, I forget. Yeah. But like, what? That's a different shoe, right? Like, I mean, what's the difference?
So interesting. When we tested that out, we were a little worried about that one piece. You don't sink into it though, which is good.
That's good.
It's super comfortable shoe.
That's great.
It's a super fast shoe too. So it reminds me of like an early cage, like literally a 15-year-old cage that with a soft top. It's actually super comfortable. We were very skeptical about their new line of shoes, but when we tried them, we were like pleasantly surprised. Like we tested out the thing and bent it around, and we were pretty worried about it in the store. But once we got out on the court, we're like, okay, these are actually good shoes. It's probably one of the better lines of shoes that they've ever made.
That's a relief.
So,
because I was at the time I was having some heel issues, which are gone now, and partially because I had used my previous shoes for too long, which is another thing you shouldn't do. But and so I wanted something with like maximal cushioning, and the GP Turbos obviously did that. So I was just a little worried also about like the heel support in those NXTs. But was the heel support all right as well for you?
Yeah. Yeah, it was totally fine. It was if you're a turbo user, I tell people to go with New Balance. That Lav Fresh Foam 2 feels just like it. Just like it. I call it the Milos Raonic shoe. You'll love that thing. It's got GP turbo characteristics.
Ooh, thank you. This is an
Yeah.
excellent.
The
Yeah,
problem with
I
that
haven't
is I
actually.
think they have it only in all white right now, or all kind of a weird color purple. And I don't really care because comfort's more important to me than the color at this point. But yeah, that's a great alternative to the turbo.
I don't know about that, Harry. You've been trying to switch me to white rackets. Like, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Very cool. And in terms of I'm curious about the ASICS line as well. Like that seems to be such a popular line. I was wondering if maybe you could just let us know of like the different ones, and then like who you suggest or what shoe you suggest for what type of player or foot.
Sure, no problem. So
Okay.
the highest end shoe that they make is called the Court FF, and then it's either the 2 or the Novak. It's the
Mm,
same shoe. The one that says Novak is actually the ones that he will be wearing in tournaments and will
mm,
have his symbol on it. Um, I wear that shoe. I love that shoe. It's an interesting shoe in that there is no tongue in that shoe. You
mm,
literally have to shove your foot in there and kind of get used to the tightness because it will be squeezing you. A lot of people can't get over that, but
mm.
once you do, it will reward you. I literally don't tie those laces because it's on me. Like the
Wow.
laces are kind of useless. I don't know why they even put them in there. But yeah, they're super comfortable. But you kind of have to understand the shoe and know that it's going to be a pain in the behind to put it on for the first few times. But after that, it'll reward you. The shoe sticks with you. You can cut very easily on it, and it's pretty durable. I mean, considering the price and no warranty on it, you will like the comfort. You will like the performance. The second one down the road is the number one selling shoe in, I think, the world is the Gel Resolution 8.
Yeah.
Now, I 80% of the people love that shoe, 20% of the people say it's too tight. They
Mm,
do make a wide now, and you can get like the wider version of it. It's a heavy shoe. It's a stable shoe. It fits most people, and most people like it. So
mm.
that's like their number one seller, obviously number one seller in the world. Again, 80% of people will love this shoe and constantly buy it. The third one down is the FF, the Speed FF, which is kind of like a Gel Resolution 8, but stripped down. They
Mm,
lighten it as much as they can, as
mm.
much mesh as they can on the top, so it breathes and it goes fast. That particular shoe runs about a half size too uh, short, so you'll probably have to get a half
Oh,
size bigger on that one. But that one is meant for your speed runners. You want to go fast. You don't want a heavy shoe. So if you're like Nadal and you want to run around without the support and you're sure on your feet, definitely get that Speed FF. There's other shoes down the road that I don't recommend. Those are the three that I
sure.
carry. So
Got it. Thanks, Harry. Oh, that's interesting. The last part where you mentioned like it's a very quick shoe, the speeds, but then there's like not as much support. So could that potentially be like a little bit dangerous for players who like I guess obviously they if they need the support, like is there like really not that much support in it, or there's like a good amount, or
no,
I
they
don't know.
stripped that shoe down. Like
Okay.
you're going to one of the heaviest shoes in a Gel Resolution 8
Yeah.
to like one of the lightest shoes out there. Like you're
Mm,
taking as much shoe and as much sole as you can out. Asics did to create
wow.
that speed, and that's the reason why they call it the speed,
Yeah.
because you will be able to get out on your edges and go side to side really fast. It's going to let you go. It's not going to hinder you like a Gel Resolution 8 will, because of like that Gel Resolution 8 has a one piece sole, so that all of it is connected. It's hard to
Mm.
flex, right? The speed, they cut the middle, right, to take out more material, so it's easily
Uh,
flexed. So that's what's gonna, you know, allow you to go on your edge, but also allow you to twist an ankle. So it's
mm.
kind of like you got to, if you're sure on your foot, and you know what you're doing, uh, you're going to gain an extra half step. If you're not, then you're going to gain a trip to the ER. So
you're gaining something. I mean,
exactly.
you'll get to chat with well-qualified people. But yeah, so it's interesting. I feel like maybe if you are prone to injuries or you have an injury, like you might have to think twice about that shoe, maybe.
If you're prone to injury and you have weak ankles, get the Gel Resolution 8 for sure. Or a speed or a Court FF Novak or 2. Yeah.
How would you compare the Gel Resolutions? I used to use them, a few iterations actually, and they're pretty good. But how do you compare that to the GP Turbos?
Oh, it's different. It's a different animal. The Gel Resolution 8 is more. I feel like it's like shaped like this, so that it tightens up in the midsole or the midfoot on the top, and then it kind of widens out. So if your foot isn't perfectly fit into the shape, it's not going to be comfortable. Whereas a GP Turbo is kind of like this, like kind of just opens up for you, and then you can tie the laces up to tighten it however you want on the top. So it's different, and the GP Turbo is more cushioning on it. That's why I love that shoe, and that's why you'll love the Lav Fresh Foam, because it's got that foam sole that bounces. Like it's like you're on trampoline. You step down, and pwing, shoot you back up. So
excellent. I love trampolines. It's funny. I used to always like only get a tennis shoe if it had like a guarantee, So I had the Princes back in the day. I forgot the name of that one, but then I get the Barricades. And actually, they gave it to us for during college tennis as well. Anyway, but I was on that for a while. Then I did the Gel Resolutions, but now I'm like, I think I can just not worry about the guarantee all the time and just get the shoe that's best for my foot. So yeah, that's important. As far as other tennis equipment, I'm curious if there's any tennis equipment like on the game improvement front. And it's really cool that your channel Tennis Spin on YouTube not only focuses on like gear, but also does some game improvement and other things. So like on the any pieces of tennis equipment that you could recommend for players to actually like improve their game. And also I saw, and I won't name it yet, but like I saw when like Ian and Joel visited your shop, and a certain piece of equipment that Joel got. So yeah, any advice on that front?
I think that the hot things right now is like the spoon or the saber, which makes you kind of keep your eye on the ball. I feel like if you can get a wooden racket from back in the day, or a T2000, or anything that's like an old smaller head racket, that'll definitely kind of do the same thing. I mean, it's not as cool or as sexy as getting a saber, but definitely something like that will definitely improve your hand-eye coordination and make you hit through the ball a little bit. My buddy Coach Rob and I, we just tested a Prince Woody versus a Jack Kramer staff back in the day, the wooden Jack Kramer, and it was amazing how we served so well with that the Jack Kramer, the little 80 square inch head wood, because of the weight distribution. You toss the ball and you just let the wood go, it takes off. Damn. So so it's amazing what you can learn from like a wooden racket. Definitely volleys will be great on that. I mean, see what you got around the house is what I tell people.
Yeah, it's a great advice there. By the way, I know what the spoon is. Like, what is the saber? I assume we're not talking about Star Wars. What?
or Roger Federer's attack on the return serve. Yeah,
that's what I thought at first.
So the saber is a racket that I think Functional Tennis made.
Oh yeah.
So it's like the spoon, except that it's actually made out of graphite. And there's actually strings on it, and the head is about yay big right there. So you literally have to keep your eye on the ball, or else you won't be hitting those strings. And you got to swing it pretty confidently. I mean, what I see people don't miss when they actually concentrate on it. once you get confident with it, then you start missing because you think, oh, I got this. And then you start framing it or whiffing it. But a lot of these training aids basically is just concentration, keeping your eye on the ball, not taking your swing path to the ball for granted.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I feel like I'm trying to touch the whole gamut of like tennis equipment. I guess, any advice on, or thoughts on A, clothing, and then B, bags? Any thoughts on that?
Let's start with bags.
All right.
I feel like Yonex, Dunlop, and Head do very good job with their bags. The quality is bar none, probably the best in the game.
Wow.
There's usually they usually hold up well over time. The zippers are very, very smooth. That's the one thing I judge on bags is I'll unzip the first when I first get them, I'll start unzipping, and I was like, if this thing's tight, man, this thing's garbage. So it's got to go zit, 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 and then I load it up with stuff, and is it still going to do that? If I, like I like to manhandle those bags, and I hate it when the zipper sticks. So that's how I judge good bags. There's a lot of new companies out right now that's doing really good job with bags, like ADV. They sent me a bag, and that's a super sweet bag. Fury makes a good bag.
Fury,
FURI. Yeah,
I had them on the podcast. Yeah,
and then what's that bag that I Go GEAU makes a great bag too. GEAU. Yeah, those guys approached me years ago, and their tote bags or backpack. That backpack that they make is like, I call it the North Face of tennis bags. So if you're going to go on a trip and get on a plane, that would be definitely the one to get.
I might go and get it then.
We thought it was like Bayou stuff, GEAU, like New Orleans, but they're not based out of there.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check them out because I just use like my regular Samsonite. Like I have a backpack and I just like stick a racket in it. Not the best, so I might have to check out these.
Yeah, check it. The Go bag is probably going to be the best. Yeah. On the clothing front, I'm very into like keeping you cool wear. So there's a company called IB Cool. It's the letter I, the letter B, and then KUL. I love their shirts. I mean, when you type it in on your computer there, you're going to probably see a bunch of women's shirts, but they do a great men's line. The shorts are super breathable, super light. The tops will keep you nice and cool when it's like super hot outside. So it's a cold feeling material.
Awesome.
It's awesome. Kind of a golf sailing company, but they've started doing more kind of tennis stuff too. And obviously, it's been so tough to keep clothing in stock, and white shirts are very hard to get right now. White shirts, white caps, white shorts. That I've been sending everybody to Lululemon. Even though they don't have white, but they have good stuff, and they have tennis line. So So check out their men's stuff. I know everybody thinks of Lululemon for yoga pants, but their men's stuff is pretty awesome.
Sweet, nice. So like the shirts and the shorts as well. Oh, so you said they have a tennis line. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and the joggers are great. The surge pants, I love those. When it's hot outside, it keeps you cool. When it's cold outside, it keeps you warm. I was like shocked when I got those pants like 5 years ago. Yeah, Surge. Wow. SURGE. Yeah.
SURG. Oh, that's a specific jogger.
Yeah. Lululemon Surge pant. Surge jogger.
Surge jogger. Excellent. I have so much to research after this. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
This is good stuff. Let's see what else. What are a couple video? I think we did mention a few, but what are a couple of videos that you'd recommend the viewers check out on your Tennis Spin YouTube channel? that you've done recently or whenever?
Yeah, a couple of the highly viewed videos are how to put an overgrip, like a perfect overgrip on. I
Okay.
feel like everybody can benefit from that one because I feel like when I see people trying to put on an overgrip, they're like twisted like this or doing this thing
Oh
and trying to
yeah.
put on an overgrip backwards. I simplify the video so that you know what you're doing. Like a right-handed person, you hold it with your left hand and you roll down with your right. That's
Mm-hmm.
for a right-handed person, right? And how to
Mm,
start it, how to end it. If you're doing it for a left-handed person, you do the opposite. You hold it with the left and you roll down with the hold it with your right and you go down with the left.
mm-hmm.
So, and there is a difference. Most people don't know because they're all rolled for right-handed people. But
Yeah.
that's a super simple video that anybody can do. I know that there's a ton of people who are learning how to string out there,
Yeah.
and my number one is my stringing video. So I'm glad I'm able to help people with that. A lot of people say, hey, I learned how to string from you, and I was like, you're welcome. So but yeah, and then there's other videos of what not to do when you first purchase a racket. Don't immediately put on an overgrip unless it's leather on there. um
Uh,
it's just simple things like that just to kind of get you going. I mean, you really just need a racket and some shoes. Just go play, don't worry about the rest.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I'll definitely link those videos in the links or the show notes section. How to put on an overgrip, how to string a racket, Harry. Those could have been 5-second videos. Say just come to Brad Gilbert's Tennis Nation and no, but that's nice of you to teach the. Definitely, I'm sure they'll appreciate it. So yeah, we'll link those. Also, like I mentioned, you've done game improvement videos as well. So, can you give us maybe 1 or 2 top tips for players to improve their games as well?
Yeah, sure. I see everybody out there hitting off their back foot. I'm sure you see it every
Mm-hmm.
day. So
Yeah.
I'd like for everybody to prepare faster, get turned faster, and have a little more time to swing versus um, trying to catch up to the ball that's kind of already upon you. So I tell people every day that says, my elbow hurts, my wrist hurts, right? I say, if you see the ball, it's too late. So start to swing earlier. Because
Right.
don't swing when the ball's right up at your face, because that's way too late. So
Yeah.
anticipate the ball and get
Mm-hmm.
going with the swing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great piece of advice. I guess this again, as far as your YouTube channel, what's next for it? Like any particular topics or anything like that, or just anything else you want to let us know about regarding Tennis Spin's YouTube channel?
Well, I'm gonna keep it rolling daily as long as I can. I'm just the person in front of the camera. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that have to be done before the video actually goes on. So I'm grateful that they're able to kind of keep up with me, because I'm kind of that crazy mad scientist that I have a pad and a paper wherever I am. It'll come to me like a
Mm,
certain subject or a topic when I'm literally in the shower or in the bathroom or literally watching TV. So I'll always
uh,
write this stuff down
you can't
and
write in the
literally
shower, Harry.
I try to. I do my best thinking in the shower, actually. Like, I think of all these
No.
great topics when I'm like,
Yeah,
when the
me too,
water's
actually.
hitting me. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I guess it's like you're relaxed or something and like or the sound of the water, I don't know, like but I agree, like I come up with like decent ideas in there too.
Yeah, no, when I was in advertising, I came up with jingles when I was in there. I would literally just stand there in the shower and kind of from start to end have a song or a jingle for a particular product. And then I would
Wow.
I would keep singing it to myself until I got what I needed out of it. And then I come out and then write it all down.
Wow.
So, but yeah, great thought comes from that shower.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Clean thoughts.
Yes,
Another
exactly.
terrible pun. I'm sorry. Oh man, what am I doing? And yeah, no, this is all awesome stuff, Harry. I mean, I definitely, obviously, very highly encourage people to check out your YouTube channel, which again we'll link on the show notes page, or you can just go to youtube.com and type in tennis spin, and you'll see all these great videos of Harry. I'm looking at them right now, actually, too. Is there anything else, any other subject or topic or anything else you want to mention that maybe I haven't asked about, just to give you the floor?
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like before pandemic, the game was kind of, on a downward slope. There's been less participation in the game.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I feel like pandemic actually gave the game a good boost, and now it's kind of tapering off a bit. Um, I feel like the game has changed a lot in terms of participation. When I was growing up, I could go out to the neighborhood park and get a game. Like I could be by myself and literally I would walk into a doubles game or a singles game. And I feel like that's kind of lost in today's environment. And I feel like I wish that that would kind of come back. Where people hang out at the courts, a couple hours or all day, like I did, and just play all day. But I know people have lives, and it things do change. But I just yearn for those older, more innocent tennis times.
Yeah, me too. Definitely got to figure out ways to grow the game and keep it going. And yeah, I think in at least one of the parks where I go, there's still like is like group of 8 or 10 guys, and maybe a couple girls who just like they're there like for like 6-7 hours, and they just
Hmm.
keep rotating and stuff like that. So, I think it's still happening in some places. So, I probably I want to ask about pickleball. I know that you
Oh,
actually you sell some gear in there, pickleball gear, right?
yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean it makes sense. I even have seen like pickleball on Tennis Channel as well, like which I was
Mhm.
curious, because they like there was some women's women's
I
final
saw
going on
that.
at one point. I was
Yes.
like, what? So
What's happening to my channel?
I know, I know. I have to be honest. Like, there's always been this like ego inside, which I have to keep tempering. Where it's like pickleball, tennis is definitely a better sport in terms of like it's more complex and like Anyway, I don't want to say too much of what I actually thought, but it is it's obviously great for people to have another choice of a racket sport, like especially if you're older. Yeah, I don't.
So,
Hopefully, I'm
so
not
here I'll
offending,
take over
but
for you on
yeah,
this
yeah,
one
yeah. Let me know
because
what you
I
think.
because I thought the same thing as you. I was like, "What
Yeah,
is
yeah.
this thing?
Help
Is
me
this
out, Harry.
so I actually equated pickleball to um, a modern shuffleboard. Like you
Yeah.
remember in the Love Boat, you would just who's playing
Uh,
shuffleboard, right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
it's more
yeah.
of an active approach to it, and I
Yeah.
get it. I get it. It was developed by an older crowd,
Yeah.
and um, but the evolution of it in the last, I want to say 5-10 years, have like the age group was like, let's say 70, 80. Now it's actually
Yeah.
dropping. You saw the young people on
Yeah.
Tennis Channel playing, and it's pretty physical, very reactive, very fast paced.
Right.
Um, like the newer generation, the younger generation has grasped it, and because it's in its infancy, you got these young champions that will be the trailblazers of the game. For from now on, and then it's kind of like what do you call that? Ultimate fighting, like the
Oh, UFC.
champions
Yeah.
of back then. It was cool watching people fight each other and beat each other up. Now you got the young people kind of beating each other up on the court. But then eventually those people will be superseded by the next younger generation who will take the game to the next level.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see the evolution of the game. I mean, we've seen it in the store. I used to sell one or two paddles a month with
Mm.
maybe like
Wow.
a thing
Okay.
of balls a month, like three things. And now I'm selling like 20 paddles a month and a ton of balls.
Hmm.
So it's definitely going to be here to stay. They're converting a ton of courts to pickleball.
That's what
And
I'm killing
yeah,
me there.
so
Uh, Yeah.
but it makes sense. I mean, the footprint of
Economically.
pickleball,
Yeah.
yeah, is you could do 4 pickleballs on one tennis court.
Yeah.
So more participation.
Yeah, yeah. I wish they would, put some line. I mean, they do put lines on some, and then they convert others.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they're trying to look at it from like if it's not used much, then they'll convert it. But
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. So, what do you? I mean, do you think we're in? We should switch the subject clearly, but do you think tennis is in like danger of pickleball, like kind of ruining it almost, or do you think like tennis is still in a decent shape and still like growing somewhat?
From what I see, I I think that I don't want to say this is the beginning of the end, but
Oh no,
but
Harry,
no, I'm just
cut
kidding.
the recording. Just kidding.
I think that it's still, tennis is still here, and let's
All
say
right, all
pickleball is
right.
here, but I
It's
think that
good.
it's nipping, it's moving, right? Because
Uh-huh.
uh, like pickleball is just more inclusive. You can find somebody to
Mm,
play with now. It's not like so think about it this way. Tennis, right? Oh, I don't want to play with that person. I'm too good for that person. Or I'm not as good as that person, so I don't want to play with that person. So
yeah,
pickleball is not that way. Everybody's
yeah,
inclusive now. So that's the thing.
true.
I get to play.
Hmm.
So that's why it's growing so fast because we're
Yeah,
including everybody, beginners, intermediate, advances, they're all playing with each other, and
yeah, it
that's where
makes
tennis
sense.
is lost. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess, yeah, that's where the complexity, I guess, in a way hurts it. Although I still think it's more fun to watch tennis. But like you said, like one of my best friends, like the awesome guy, but like he would ask me to play tennis, and like I have before, but he's probably like a 3.5, 3.035
Hmm.
maybe, and I'm like a 5.0 and all that. So, but then pickleball, it's like it's much more competitive. When we play. So and
Right.
then also for me, by the way, I know this may be like a brag or whatever, but like, I had only played pickleball once just to try it out and everything. And then that same friend asked me to like be his partner in a pickleball tournament. And I said, all right, fine, and then like we played and we got to the finals, won like 3 matches or whatever. And so it's definitely like pretty, I don't want to say, well, yeah, it's like
It's
easy for a tennis player to pick up.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
easy to play, easy to learn. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just you got to know just the rules that they have, which is a little strange to me,
Yeah.
but
The kitchen stuff. Yeah.
exactly. So like, well, the underhand serve, and then you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
do this, right? So it's
Yeah.
just that stuff. But I mean, it's easily learnable. So, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, any person can do it. Your 70-year-old person can do it. Your 10-year-old person can do it. So
Right. Right.
it's that's why it's growing.
Yeah, yeah. And do you think tennis and pickleball, you think they should like work together, or do you think like tennis should like try to defend itself to the death?
Oh,
What do you What do you think? I don't know.
oh,
I mean, I don't know. Like do like tennis channel stuff for instance, like it definitely turns a lot of people off to like you have like I don't know, is it different? Like I'm asking another question too, but like, you never see like, for example, like tennis on like the basketball channel, if that's probably not even a thing, but like, or maybe it is. So do you think it's not right to put like pickleball on a tennis channel, or do you think like, they should again like be working together like that?
well, here's the thing. It's all about economics, right? It's
Yeah.
because it's growing so fast and people do participate. People do want to see other people play that are at the next level,
Hmm.
professionals.
Yeah.
It makes sense because the evolution of tennis will be pickleball at a certain age, or a lot of people that I know, they're doing it together. So they
Yeah.
do a
That's
little
fun.
pickle here with this group of friends and tennis with this group of friends, and maybe sometimes they come together too. Um, so it's hard. You're probably gonna have to live with it, is what I'm seeing. I mean, when I
Yeah.
was growing up, like tennis was on random channels. Like
Mm.
I don't know where you are, but in the Bay Area, we would have these like a channel 44, and they would literally put like Jim McKay on or somebody like that doing like a random tennis tournament on a Friday night at 11. And that's how I would watch McEnroe. And I'm like, where the heck does this come from? So
yeah. Interesting. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, hopefully we'll learn to coexist and all that. But yeah, I just thought, maybe since you sell both the types of equipment, maybe you had some opinions, which you had some nice ones there. Yeah, so I guess I'll close with this question that I ask everybody, but you can gear it towards gear, I guess, if you'd wish. But like, what is one key tip that you'd give our audience to help them improve their tennis games?
I tell people just go out and play. I mean, don't worry about your equipment. Everybody's worried about buying the latest and greatest thing. I mean, tennis, let's keep it simple. Whatever you have at home, go play with it first. A lot of people like put so much on their racket that you're stressing the racket out, literally. But just go play. It's a simple game. Hit the ball. Last person who keeps the ball in wins that point, guys. Remember, whether you have a wooden racket, a steel racket, or a graphite racket, it doesn't matter.
There you go. That's the secret. And you just got to give a shout out to Harry for the integrity that this man has. He works at a shop and he still tells you at the end of the day, obviously just go out there, have fun, and don't like over stress on the gear you have. Although it's very fun, to get like really cool gear as well. And like, obviously replace your rackets when you need to and all that. And definitely if you're in the area. And by the way, can you say again, like where your location is for the shop, Brad Gilbert's Tennis Nation?
Yeah, we're in Greenbrae, which is in Marin County. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, in California.
Cool. Yeah, California. I'm opposite side, unfortunately. Hopefully, I'll get to visit there at some point again soon. But yeah, I'm in Maryland, so a little bit far.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So all good though. And where would you like people to like follow you? I know obviously you got the YouTube channel, but like any other like either websites, socials, like all of that for you to shout out.
Yeah. No, thank you. I'm on Instagram also. So just Tennis Spin. And you'll see the links on the YouTube website. And thank you for doing that.
Oh, of course. Yeah, you definitely deserve recognition for all the great stuff you're doing here. And again, like, putting out videos every day, like that is tough. As we were talking, I forgot if we were talking, I think probably before the recording, but Harry, he not only works at the shop full time, he also works at a tennis club full time. Which club is it? For people around the area to check out.
I can't say that actually.
Oh, okay.
It's a private club. They can't.
Oh, okay. We'll cut it.
Visit me there. Yeah.
Okay, we'll cut it. No, sorry. I should have cut out tennis club mention.
Yeah.
152. Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. So, Harry, again, just really want to give you kudos for all the great work you're doing and, all the time you're putting into to the YouTube videos and helping customers and coming onto podcasts and things like that on top of your full-time jobs. Really do appreciate it. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing you in person sometime. And, and by the way, are you going to any tournaments in the near future? I don't know. I know the U.S. Open is kind of far for you, but any tournament visitations?
I was gonna actually be at the U.S. Open, but plans have changed. Yeah, I may be at Indian Wells. Wells. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That would be cool. Yeah, I'm gonna try to make it there. I have like my tennis summit that I do every year online in April, so I usually don't, but I'm very tempted because a lot of the online people go, as you know, right. Ian Westerman and Will and Scott and all them. So, but yeah, Harry, it was a pleasure, and we've been chatting. Wow, almost like 2 hours. Yeah, but it's been so much fun. So thanks a lot for your time today on your day off, no less. And yeah, just again want everybody to check out Tennis Spin on YouTube, on Instagram, and we'll have the links to the videos and other stuff that we mentioned on the show notes page. So Harry, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast, and all the best, and talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Harry. Same here. All right. I really hope that you enjoyed part 2 of my interview with Harry Tong. Harry, thanks again for coming on, and definitely highly encourage everybody to check out Tennis Spin's YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com and type in Tennis Spin, or go to the show notes page at tennisfiles.com/266. And if you enjoyed this episode, and if you enjoy the Tennis Files podcast, and I would really appreciate it very much if you would leave a review for the show. And you can do that by going to tennisfiles.com/Apple Podcasts with an S at the end, or clicking the review button in your podcast app of choice that you use to listen to the show. Apple Podcasts is usually the one to do it on, as it's the biggest driver of the show in terms of popularity and, seeing it higher up the charts and so forth. But I definitely appreciate your review in any form. And I do want to leave you with a quote, as I often like to do at the end of every show. And this one is by Anonymous, actually. And it is, it's not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you're not. Very important quote there about the mental game, really, and how much that can apply to your tennis game is very evident there from that quote. So with that, thanks so much for listening, and I definitely really highly am looking forward to having you listening to future episodes and to bring you them as high quality ones as I can. So have a great week. I'm actually going to be heading to the US Open during Labor Day weekend. So if you're there, send me a message and I will try to say hi. It probably will be a little tough, but I will try for sure. So, all right, have a great one and see you on the next episode. Take care.